Hello and welcome to everyone tuning in, whether it's the morning, afternoon, or evening in your part of the world. I'm Nadia and I'm thrilled to be your host for today's Microsoft Reactor live stream. Before we dive into the main event, I'd like to remind everyone about the Reactor Code of Conduct. Our aim is to cultivate a positive and inclusive environment for all our participants. So let's keep our interactions respectful and supportive. Today, we are joined by a special guest. His name is Jiva, who is a solution architect for Microsoft Business Application, who's based in Auckland. He's also a Microsoft MVP and a certified trainer. Jiva will be guiding us through enhancing your organization's approval process using approval kits. Throughout this session, feel free to drop your questions in the chat and we'll do our best to address as many as possible. We'll also be sharing additional resources and links in the chat, including information on how you can aspire to become a Microsoft MVP. For those who want to revisit today's session, you can do so later on our Reactor YouTube channel. Without further ado, let's give a warm virtual round of applause to our fantastic speaker. Take it away, Jiva.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the Microsoft Reactor Sydney. And thanks for the introduction, Nadia, and myself, Jiva Rajan Kumar. And today we're going to see about how to enhance your organization's approval process using Approvals Kit. And that's a quick introduction about myself here. I'm a solution architect based out of Auckland and have 12 plus years of experience in Dynamics 365 customer engagement and Power Platform. And I'm also a Microsoft MVP for the last 4 years now. And I'm also a Microsoft Certified Trainer for the last 5 years and an active community leader who does events in Auckland and Singapore and in Chennai from India. And there's also another speaker who will be joining us shortly. His name is Dharan, and he's going to join from Sydney, and he's also a Microsoft MVP and MCT and community leader. That's a quick intro. And yes, so there's going to be less theory for this one and more practical sessions where I'm going to just walk you through on the installation and setup and how it actually works and why it is, what it basically solves, right? The approvals kit, why we need the approvals kit in the first place. So we already have an approvals connector which comes as part of the Power Automate. And the question that commonly people ask is why we need the approvals kit. Well, it helps to solve a complex approval process without any additional development, or I would say with the low-code configuration, rather building your custom, multiple flows or child flows or complex flows. So today, almost 90% of the organization uses approval process for their day-to-day business processes. And like some of the common example business processes is like a document approval process where like my invoice approval, work order approval, and quotation approval. So if there is any quotation that's above certain amount, it could be a invoice for a specific customer or no specific region where you need to get a separate level of approval or separate level of approval from different line of business. And those kind of things are a day-to-day part of the day-to-day approval process. And other things could be like, like as part of a vacation request, a travel request, an expense request, which is very common across any organization you take. And you can have a really complex approval process, and where, like your approval could be, your approver it might not be available when it's required, and he or she might be in vacation or might be in emergency leave, and you don't want the approval to wait until he or she comes back, right? So those kind of things you have to manage. And also it can be added as your approval process can be added as a part of your larger implementation, which is quite common as well. And with that, what we do is we'll take a different sample scenario, right, which I can walk through. And if you talk about a sample scenario that we have taken, which is also available in Microsoft Learn. So we have 3 personas here. Gibson, who will be probably a Power Platform admin and who is also an IT manager, who is also a pro developer and takes care of setting up environment, setting up of DLP and solutions. And Charlotte will be your approvals administrator, who basically configure the approval processes, and who is also a power user and who is quite aware of the business processes, and also is quite comfortable with doing certain level of super user stuff like configuration and setup. And then we have Rebecca, who's going to be our approver and like as a sales manager, and would be business user who basically like approve in the Teams, Outlook, or portal. And we'll see a sample like this in our demo, but it'll be a different name, not exactly what we have here. This is just a classic example what I'm showing here. And as a part of sample user journey, as you can see, uh, Gibson basically creates the environment, and he set up all the business approvals toolkit that's required to create the approval process. And then Charlotte, as a super user who is also comfortable with the business processes, she basically configures the approval and match the business requirement along within the sales department, in which in our case we are talking about the sales. And then either Charlotte or Gibson can basically create a Power Automate, and then the approval toolkit that we are going to use will be part of the Power Automate. So it's not a separate replacement for Power Automate. Just to be clear, it is going to be it's an extension of the Power Automate approval process, right? So whatever you do with Power Automate, you do, and then just for the approval, we can basically leverage this, to create that complex approval processes. And then Rebecca can basically use the kit to approve the request, where she will receive an email or the Teams where she go and approve it. And then once it does it, it gets approved. And Charlotte can analyze the approval process, and she'll have a fantastic model-driven app with a centralized where she can get a centralized view of the overall approval and how it's working and how it's getting approved, how it's and so that she can incorporate more improvements, and she can also work closely with Gibson to plan for more improvements. And and also Charlotte can be a part of COE team if you're talking about an enterprise a business, and they can work together to improve it along with the business team. This is just a very simple scenario what is being shown here, but there could be more possibilities, and for the team to enhance it as required. And the classic comparison of why the approval toolkit when we already have the approval connector in the Power Automate, right? So approval connector in Power Automate does the basic approvals, and it's already generally available. So most of us have used it, and we know what are the limitations are, and we know what it can do. And other side, we have approval kit, which basically which we're going to discuss now, and it's in public preview since last December, and it's not yet made general available, so it's not recommended to use in any of your production at the moment. So you can still play in your dev and test environment, and then you can get comfortable with that, and once it is general available, then you can feel free to use it. So it comes with we will be importing a managed solution, and it comes with a certain inbuilt Power Automates, and then an app and tables as such, and it uses a custom connector as well, and it requires a creator kit. We will see that shortly, and I'll also share the link to the Microsoft article doc, and where there is a step-by-step guide on what are the prerequisites required and what are the installation required. And I have already done this in my demo, but basically you need the creator kit to be installed, and the managed solution to be installed, which will have the components which we'll see shortly. And this is another the capabilities that approval kits offer, the features that approval kits offer, and which is not offered by the out-of-the-box approval connector, and where we have been building the custom implementation to achieve this. For example, if you're talking about maintaining the approval history, we will need to have that captured in any of the table, and then we maintain it. And also, if we talk about multi-stage approvals, if X, then person A, if Y, then person B, and if Y and the person B is not available, then person C. Those kind of thing, it could get complex, and that's where we have been building, multiple flows or multiple conditions, and then actions, and then we call the flows in from other flow, and then that's what we have been doing so far. But approval kit elegantly handles that without any complex development. So if we take the sample business scenario that we saw, someone like Charlotte in this scenario, who is a super user, can set up that ideally, right? And delegated approvals. So if the actual approver is not available, is out of office, or has been waiting, the approval has been waiting for that particular approval for like a while, maybe 2 days, 3 days, and still we haven't got anything. Maybe and then you have to delegate to somebody else. Then again, those things also comes as an inbuilt as part of the approval kit. And then out of office, and also the work days and holidays, and also the standard, and these are all the features that comes. And if from standard connector standpoint, yes, approvals connector is part of the standard connector. You don't need a premium license, but the approvals kit, which we are going to talk today, requires premium license. The reason is because it uses Dataverse extensively, so it does require premium license to use the approval kit. And then the example demo that we are going to see today is on it's going to be this. So I'm just using the Microsoft's Contoso Coffee Machine app, which anybody can get it, and I'm going to share the link to that in the chat. And it's a really good app to basically install. It's a part of a separate app in a day program, but like we are going to just leverage that for this one. So in our sample demo that we are going to see, what's going to happen is when somebody places a coffee machine order, and we decide if it's less than certain amount, let's say in this case less than 400, it could be it should be a self-approval, or could be approved by the first level of approval. And if it's more than 400, then it can go to a second level of approval. And we'll also have delegated approval in our scenario, where the person who is supposed to approve is going to be out of office for today, and then it will go to the alternative person whom we are going to configure shortly. And we can see how all of this process can be centrally managed from the central application, which comes as part of the solution. Yep. So that's all. No more presentation slides. So it's going to be pretty much demo right away. Any questions so far? If there's any question, please feel free to add the chat, and then I can answer on that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my demo application here, and that's the demo application. So if you can see, I'll first show the demo, then I'll show how did I configure it and how did I install it. That way you can connect the overall demo. So this is the home page. This is the model-driven app that you're going to get as part of the business approval management. Is a model-driven app that you get part of the approvals kit solution. And then once you install it, you're going to see a nice app with tree navigation here in the sitemap, and then you're going to have the home page where you're going to start with. When you start with, you'll have seen nothing here. It will be empty, pretty much these tables, but you'll have the option to configure your flow and then configure basic settings as such. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just quickly show the demo, and then I'll show you how it works behind the scene. So this is the Contoso Coffee Machine app. Again, this is also available pretty much from Microsoft Learn. You can just upload from the GitHub. And so what this app does is you can see the coffee machine details, and you can compare them. So if I just, let's say I compare this one and this one, for example, it's not fair comparison, but I know, but I'm just going to samples here. So you have Smart Brew 300, which is $500, and then this is $349, and whatever it is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to raise a request for this. Yeah. So currently I'm logged in as this admin user, which is the admin, the same user I have it here. So I'm just going to probably raise a request to the same admin. So it's nice the machine less than $400, and then I'm just going to raise a submit machine request, and it just says successfully submitted. So what this does is, behind the scene, it basically logs and record in a separate table called machine order table. But so what's going to happen is, this is my mailbox of that particular user. So as an approver, I should get an email now. It's going to take like a minute or two. Just give it some time. And once I approve it, it basically approves, right? And that's all. There's going to be a second level approval as per the slide that we saw. And if there is going to be more than 400, it will require a second level approval, which we see shortly. So what I have here is the admin, which is the first level of approval, and I have the second, the manager, who is Alicia, is going to be a second level of approval. If Alicia is not available, then it will be delegated to Alan, who is going to be my delegation for Alicia. So that's the setup I have in terms of the hierarchy. So for this one, it's just less than $400. So it's just going to be approved. The approval is just required by this admin user. It doesn't require Alicia or Alan for now. So it sometimes takes a minute, sometimes takes 2 minutes, sometimes maximum is in like 4 or 5 minutes as well. So let's give it a time. Let's give it some time, and let me so did the date time, so that it's easy for us to track. Yeah, we got the approval there. Yeah, so we got the approval there. I'm just gonna approve this. And that's all. So it's a simple one, this is quite straightforward. You don't need a approval kit for this. This can be done by approval connector. Yeah, which is right. And let's see the next one. Next scenario is going to be, I'm probably going to order something more than $400. So I'm just going to compare the nice white and the green one. I'll go for the green one. Being Hulk fan, I definitely go for the green one. Let's say green looks strong. And once this is done, so what's going to happen, since because it's more than $400, it's going to come to the first level of approval, which is going to be the same user, the admin. And then for second level of approval, it should come to Alicia. But if Alicia is marked as out of office today, and which in that case, it's going to go to Alan. So that's what's going to happen now. It's going to end up here, and then it's going to go to Alan. And meanwhile, what we can do is, if you come to the home page here, you can see the submitted workflows, which is pretty much the actual workflow that's happening right now. So if I open this one, you can basically monitor what is happening. So if I go to the stages, which is pretty much each stage, you can see right now it is itself approval, it's running. It's with the it's a name that I gave. I will show you shortly how it is done, but it's currently running, which means it's still haven't approved yet. It's in the first level. So once I receive the email, then I can actually approve it. Or if I'm Teams, I can also get the Teams anyways. I just wait for it, and then I'll approve it once I receive it. But the idea is you will get a centralized view of all your workflows that's been running and waiting. And you can see right now, if I sort by date, this is the recent workflow that's run, and you can see when it was created, and we'll talk about the version shortly. And you can see what are the data that's being passed from the app. So I'm basically passing the price and the name to build my logic. So I received the email now. So yes, so I'm just approving it first level. And second level, so the moment this is up submitted, if you go back to the workflow and refresh it, you can see that this got completed. The first level got completed. Now it is going to trigger the second level one. So it's not yet updated. This is completed. Now it's going to create the second level stage, which is for the manager. Let's wait. Yeah, there you go. So it's created the second level stage, which is because it's more than $400. It's created that stage, and now as a manager, Alicia should receive it. But since Alicia is out of office today, and Alan will receive it. So I'll wait for Alan's mailbox to get that approval request. And you can see from this application, talk from the super user standpoint, like Charlotte or the administrator, like Gibson in our scenario, they will get a nice centralized view of what is happening. And imagine you can extend this app. You can build a dashboard, or you can build anything like that, and basically to basically monitor what is going to happen there. And like you can see what is the received approve request so far. Yeah, I think you can see that Alan Steiner, as we said, the second level is gone to Alan because Alicia is out of office. And you can see original approver is out of office, so it's set to delegate and it's running. So which means Alan should receive the approval soon. The process is running. It just takes the exchange to send the mail. Sometimes it takes some time, a while. And then meanwhile, I'm just going through the app to show you how I can monitor it. I think I got the email now. There you go. So Alan got it, and so original approval is out of office, so it's been sent to Alan. Now what Alan do is, I'm happy, install, and then Alan approves it. That's all. So we just did the um, it just did the approval process by having a delegate approval, checking the main approvals out of office, work hours, and then you send it to the delegate approval, and without any complex Power Automate or code, which I will show you shortly. And then you can see in this approval process that it will be marked as completed. Yeah, there you go. Just completed, and this is completed. So this way you can manage any workflow that is running the system, and you can see what stage it is in and whom it is with staying with and all those kind of stuffs. So if you open this, come on. So if I open this, come on. Yep. So you can see the stage, the time it's started, and time it's approved, and it's completed now. It's requested by this particular person. And if you open the node instance of it, you can see who has approved it. Yes, so this approved original by Alicia, and then but it's approved by Alan. So that's the overall view you got. And that's a demo part of it in terms of how what we did. But let's now going to see how it works behind the scene, and that way we'll clear how we can extend it and how we can manage and monitor it. So let me start with how to install or set up this one, and then I'll go into further deeper to see how to configure the workflow, and then I'll show you how to manage this as well, right? So first thing is, as a prerequisite, let me just go to the make.powerapps.com. Yeah. So the prerequisite solution for this is Microsoft Flow approvals and the Flow core solution. So how this, if you have an environment that if you already used the standard connector, approval connector, this you will already see this in your environment, right? These two comes the moment you use that standard connector, these two solutions will be installed by the Microsoft behind the scene. And this is one of the prerequisites. Let's say you're starting new and you don't have these two, so you can just create a dummy Power Automate with just a standard approval, and then you can trash it, and you will have this already. Or you can also use PowerShell script to generate this. So I'm going to share all the links in the chat, and you'll have that, how to do that, right? And once you have that, next thing is we import we will import the creator kit. These three pretty much. So the quickest way would be going into the App Store, like Microsoft App Store, and then search for creator kit. Hang on. All right. Try. Why don't I see it yet? That's weird. Yeah. Let me check out. But I just did this today morning. It was working fine. Maybe I'm checking the wrong place. Otherwise, there's other option which you can basically will also have the solution. You can download this solution separately and you can import it as well. But yeah, it should be available in the app source. I just downloaded it from app source. Let me give it a try. Probably I was looking in the wrong place. Yeah. I was looking at the Windows app store. My bad. Sorry. Come on. Where did I do that? There you go. Yeah. So once you get it, you basically connects with your app source, and then you connect it and just installs here, right? And then once this is installed, what you have basically is the next and final import is the business approval kit. And the link that I'm going to share, it's going to have the reference to the GitHub, so, and which will have the manager and an unmanaged solution as well. So I have just imported the managed solution. And once you imported the managed solution, while importing, it's going to ask for the environment URL, which you can basically, like it's basically your environment URL, which is this, or you can get it from admin.powerplatform.com, and then from the environment you can open the environment, and then you can copy the URL from here. Either way is fine. And then once you give the environment URL, and once you create the connection for the connections it's required, it's going to import. And once it is import, the key thing is you will see already like 23 cloud flows that comes part of this solution. And it's all, like you can see there is a flow that meant to handle the out of office, and then there are different flow for different complex scenarios that we have, and it all comes as part of the solution. And one thing that we need to do as part of as a prerequisite is to basically we'll have custom connector, and as part of this custom connector we need to basically configure this custom connector to basically talk to our Dynamics instance. So we need to create a app registration in Azure, and then we need to set up that. So once if I click edit, I'll show that shortly. So if you go to portal.azure and then go to the app registration right away, and then you basically create a new app registration, and I already created one. And you can see that once you create the app registration, and then you basically copy your client secret and client ID, and then also you create one app. You add app permission for Dynamics, because that needs to talk to Dynamics, and you need to have admin privilege to do that. So just create a one API, and then which I already done here, as you can see. And once you have that, you basically grant admin access for that context to the Dynamics application that we have. And once you grant this one, and then you copy the client secret and client ID, and then you basically set up this connection. So if I go to this one, so you can see I already copied my client ID and client secret, and then I have also copied finished my test, and then you can basically have all this test, and you can see how it works. But yeah, pretty much it's basically standard process to set up your custom connector. Yeah, so it's all tested and it's all works fine, all good. And also I'm not sure that I did configure my redirect URL, but yeah, you can also configure your redirect URL. You can just copy the URL from your custom connector, and then you can add the you can copy the custom redirect URL from here, and then you just add this to the standard web URL, so that to redirect to this user to this redirect URL. So that's just another setup, but it's not mandatory. But the idea is to basically get this custom connector configured so that it basically works. And once you're done, you basically update the connector and then do it. But I'm not going to do it. It's already set up and all good and works fine. And so yeah, that's a part of one more prerequisite that we need to do to create app registration and set up the custom connector. And once this is done, feel free to explore what it is in the component, and then you can, as I said, there is also unmanaged solution available. And if you want, you can import it, or if you want to extend further, you can extend it. And once that is done, and the final thing, what I did is I also imported the unmanaged solution that Microsoft provides as part of the app in a day, which is the Contoso Coffee. And that's where this app comes from, which I've been using it as a demo to basically order the coffee. And that's where it comes from. So if I go back to that solution, and you can see it has just one app, Canvas app, and then just a table called machine order. So whatever the order we have submitted, it's all pretty much gets stored in this table. So you can see these are the things that we approved now, and then is these two things that we have just submitted, and it basically gets captured here. Yeah, these things. And that's all with prerequisite, and the installation is done, all good. Then what we do is that we just play the app. We just play the app from this solution. So you can do this, or you can basically play the app here, and that's what you have it here. Once I play the app, it's going to take me to this screen, so where I'm going to have a config workflow, link workflow, or we can do config basic settings, which I'll show you shortly. So what I did is I'll go to approval designer, and then probably I'll start with the approval request, and then we can show see what is the other related configurations to that. So if I open the machine request, which is the approval workflow I created. So there's a nice designer here, which is I think pretty much same as the Power Automate designer. The same components being reused here. So you can see it opens a designer, and just give it a second. Come on, it was not this slow. Yeah, there you go. So that's the modern Power Process Designer, and this is the old one and legacy one. This is the new one. Oops, what happened? Yeah. So when I create a new one, so let me zoom in. So what I'll see is here one stage, and then I added the other stage. So the first, as part of the first stage, what I did is I click on this one. You can see just gave a name as submit, and this looks familiar. This might look familiar to you. This is what you see in the approvals connector as well. Like everyone must, whatever, if you have more, I mean, one or more approvals, whether you want everyone to approve or the first one to respond, and then if you want to wait and approve all those stuffs, and then you can search the approver. So I just added the same person, the administrator, for the initial approval. That's why you saw previously, whenever there is a request submitted, it goes to this person the first time, whether it's less than 400 or more than 400, doesn't matter. And then I will come to this one shortly in the next one. So I'm done with the first one, and then what I did is I just went here and added another stage, and that brings up this one. So what it looks like, it will, once I add the new stage, it basically it asks for a name, I gave a name, and then it asks for a condition, I gave a condition. So I chose if else condition, and you also have no condition, a switch condition. I chose if else condition. And here I chose request data, and I chose two of the variables here, which I created. And so if I go here and if I click on the variables, you can see these are the two variables I created. So one variable is price, which of type number, then is name, which of type text, and I can add more to this one if required. And once I create the variables, and those variables pretty much shows up here. So what I gave is the condition. For that condition, I'm saying the variable price If it is greater than or equals a static value of 400, just basically go to the true condition, or else go to the false condition. So, and once I have that, I'll have a true and false, and I click on the true, and basically I added this one. So I gave a name, like it's exceeded $400, and then you can have a description if you want, and pretty much, again, same. This approve everyone or first to respond. As such, I just gave everyone to approve, and then I added Alicia. As you can see. But interestingly, what I did is I also added a delegation rule to say if Alicia, there are few delegation rules. One is just timeout. Like for example, if you select timeout and choose like 1 day, if Alicia hasn't responded in 1 day, as per her, either working day or not, it basically delegates to the next person, which is Alan in this scenario. Or if Alicia is out of office, it goes to Alan. So what I chose is timeout or out of office. And in the timeout, it basically asks for the number of days, and also you can choose this actual days or business days. So if you choose business days, let's say Alicia, as per her work profile, if she is not working today anyways, and it still waits for, it won't include today, right? Since I chose timeout or out of office, and Alicia is out of office today, I have made that configuration like that. It went to Alan, pretty much. I'll show you where that delegation is, where I configured Alan and where I configured Alicia's work hours and out of office, all those shortly. So this is the overall flow that I did, and you can see it's quite simple, no code, nothing. It's similar to building a flow. It's just like a separate interface, and it offers all these beautiful features for you to basically extend it, and then use it as part of the flow. So now once I create this, what I have to do is I have to save it, and then I have to publish it, right? And once I publish it, what happens is, like you can see here, I can show you. So it basically published in different versions. So once I publish it, it'll show different version of that publish. I can just show you right away. So these are the previous versions, and you can see I can always activate any of the version, and I can choose that version in the Power Automate. That's the versioning, another advantage that is pre-built in this approvals kit. So right now it's publishing the current version. I did no changes at all, to be honest. And then once I do this, and I'll show you the prerequisite configurations that I did. So if I take the first one, let's take the Alicia's one. So if I go to setup, you can see the work profile. So I set up two profiles. One is Alicia, the first manager, and the delegation, who is Alan in this scenario. So if I open Alicia's profile, you can see she's her work hours is pretty much she doesn't work on Wednesday and Thursday. Even if I had timeout of 2 days, and then if I include business day, this might not consider, and still it will wait for 2 days because she's not working today anyways. And I can also choose the holiday calendar, like like if you used unified resource scheduling, and then like customer service or field service, you might be familiar with this concept, where you can observe holiday, a company holiday or any specific holiday calendar based on the region. And then in this case, Alicia, holiday calendar, I created a calendar called Easter, and then I basically created a couple of holidays in the Easter. So which means potentially it's all what it basically says is that if in the approval flow, if it's mentioned that timeout as like 2 days, and what does that mean? If within 2 days, if Alicia hasn't responded, it needs to go to the delegation. That's what it means, right? And that, to consider that 2 days, it will, if you choose the by the way, this is the holiday dates I added for the calendar. So I'll just go back to the approvals designer, where I can navigate the process, and I'll just again open the process. Sorry, I shouldn't have closed that one. It all basically uses the data that gets stored in the table and then builds this interface, beautiful interface. Yeah, so if I go to this one again, this is what I was trying to say. So if I just give timeout, let's say, and I say 2 business days, so considering that Alicia doesn't work today, which is Thursday, here, so it will not consider today's Thursday's date. It will still wait for Friday and Saturday, and it will go to delegated escalation or delegated user only on Sunday. So that's what it's all connects to. Same applies for holidays calendar. If it's today's holiday, probably it doesn't consider that. But if I give actual days, it doesn't respect that. Anyways, it's gonna just use the actually right away. So I just used already out of office, timeout or out of office. I just keep it as it is, and let me not close this design. I'll just keep it now. And that's the work profile. And then this is the holiday, public holiday, which you can feed in, and then you can link up the public holidays into your holiday calendar, and then you can hook up based on the region. You will have different holidays, and then you'll hook up this holiday calendar into the work profile, and then you hook up this work profile into the particular persona. So if I go back to the approval designer, and if I go to the approvers, if I open, let's say, Alicia, for example, which is one of the approver, and you can see the delegate is Alan Steiner, and then you can see the profile is basically Alicia's profile, which is what we created just now, right? And that's what it is. And then if I go to the processes, that's a prerequisite configuration that's required for what the flow that we build. If I go back and give a tour about this app, so I'll start with the approval center, and which is, if I want to create a new flow, all I do is I'll click on the configure flow, and then it basically opens the designer with untitled as a title, and then I can start creating the flow. Or I can also go to the list of workflows and click new, which is again open the same process designer. So you just name your flow, and then let's say leave request, and basically you start adding your age. It's just a stage like a level 1 approver, and then you just choose condition if you have just otherwise just save it. So it's the first stage, so you don't basically get to add a condition, and you just add a node there, and node will be line 1 approver, and then again you basically choose the approver. So we choose just again the same user, just myself, logged in user, and that's how we basically save it. So this is how you start building it. Again, it's all connects to what when you have more stage, you basically add more stage, and you can keep adding more stages. And the limitations is it's based on the Power Automate limitation. The actual stage itself doesn't have any limitation. So once you create the stage, and you can go to the approval designer, you can see this is what we just created. And stages, you can see the list of stages, and here, and you can see which stage belongs to which process. And then you can have a node which is child of the stage, which node, which stage, and which process, and then approvers and condition. And reference data is the variable that we created for one of this, for example, name and price. And pretty much you see all of them in a centralized view, right? And setup is where you basically set up your profile and all those stuff. And then approval center is basically where you can again see the workflows and the nodes and as such. So that's the standard walkthrough of the app itself, like what it does and how it works. And now we haven't seen the final puzzle yet, right? So which is how this is used in the Power Automate. So again, I'll come back to the process mission request, which was the demo we saw. So you can see how the stages that we created here in this mission request process gets basically stored behind the scene as the table records, right? You can see the stages we created, self-approval stages, manage approval. Sorry, it's too small. My bad. So the self-approval stages and manage approval stages, both the stages, or you can see it's stored as a stages record itself in the business approval process table. And then you can see the order and the path, and in the path you can see the condition. It's all pretty much record, and it's all rendered in the designer nicely. And then you can see inside the stage, the notes that I have, right? If price is greater than 400, and then this one, and you can see the note, the exceeded 400, and you can see approved rejected, and what is the index and all those things which is used internally. And then you can see the version that is done. It's done right now. It's version 4, which we just published right now. Yeah. So if I go back to Power Automate, where it's all used, you can see whenever the row is added and created. In this case, I'm just using the machine orders table, which I showed you previously. When I order a coffee machine in this app, when I do like this, what it does is it basically adds a record into the machine orders table, and that's what this table is. So whenever there's a record added or modified in this table, this flow triggers. That's what the scenario I have. And then the next action, all you have to do is you basically search for the approval process, and then that's what you get here, right? So you can see it's still showing version 3 because I haven't refreshed, but once I refresh, you'll see version 4, which is the latest version. I have it. And the variables that we created, it will show here. Remember that 2 variables that we created, not version, sorry. The variables that we created, name and price, that basically shows here. Let me just refresh this one, just a moment, so that I can show you the latest version. So if I go here, so you see it will show the version 4, which is the one we just published. And then it will have the price and the name, which I got from the table, machine orders table, and I'm just passing it to the flow, and that variable is received and then passed and used in the extension connector, which we just configured. So that's how it all connects and works with that. And that's the end of the demo, and we're almost there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share some materials and see how to start using the Power Approvals Kit, and how to do a learning, start learning about the approval kit here. So what I'll do is, this is a slide which basically has the links to your approvals kit and a nice overview video, and then how you can try it. And there's also office hours from the PowerCat team, which Grant basically does this office hours, and you can go and explore that. And you got a basic, once you set up, you basically have a hands-on on how to do it, and then now you can basically enhance it. You can check on this link where you can start enhancing it, and this learn as a nice workshop, which basically teaches you how to configure it, and then gives you a sample scenario that you can try. And I'm going to share all those links anyways in the chat now, which is pretty much here. I have it here. I'll do that. And there is one disclaimer, although there are a couple of things I want to let you know. One thing is, as I said, it requires premium license because it uses Dataverse heavily. Second thing is, although the underlying features uses the Dataverse, Power Apps, Power Automate, and the standard connector, approvals connector, which are all fully supported and generally available, the kit itself, the solution and the app that you see, and the internal Power Automates that it uses, the cloud flows that it uses, it's all managed by the PowerCat team. So it can't be support requests can't be raised to the Microsoft support team for this approval kit. So the approach to reach anything about this approval kit would be reaching to the PowerCat team or passing the feedback to them. So yeah, that's something I want to share. With that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Jiva. Seem to have a bit of a quiet audience today, but might just wait a little bit in case anyone's got any questions.
Yeah.
I have started popping in some of the links for everyone as well, including like the link to the Creator Kit and stuff like that. And also, if you're interested in becoming an MVP as well. But I think with that said, no questions have come through, which is okay. I just want to thank Jiva for taking us through solo. Might I add, you did really, really well. So thank you so much. And for everyone else as well, I will share the link where you can come back and watch the recording. But yeah, with all that done, I want to say good night to everyone, and thank you so much, Jiva, again. And we'll speak to you all soon. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Maria. Bye.